welcome to the Fall Breakdown, episode number 6. In this episode, we're talking about sports, both professional and not so professional. We're going to be looking at basketball, baseball, gymnastics, and some water sports in this one. So enjoy and let's get into it. So this first one is this guy trying to boogie board and not doing so hot, right? He slips off. So what do we notice right off the bat? Well, clearly he hasn't done this before, and he clearly doesn't really do any sort of board sports, because anybody who does board sports know that the way he's jumping onto that board is going to instantly result in a fall. So watch the slow-mo. He angles his body backwards, which means his feet are in front of him. His center of mass is kind of like in his stomach, in his hip area, and that's behind where his feet are. So if this thing is prone to sliding forwards, which is the whole point of the board on the water, of skimboarding and boogie boarding, whatever you want to call it, well, it's going to slide. That's the purpose. So he's essentially pushing it forward with his legs and using his body weight as a way to propel that forward without taking himself with it. So what he should have done is jump right over the board. Feet are going to be apart, a little more weight on the back so that it pushes it forwards, and have his center of mass right over his base of support, which would be his feet. So if you're jumping onto a skateboard, jumping onto a snow skate on a ski mountain, if you're jumping on this, you got to have a wider base of support. You have to have your center of mass over that base of support. If you don't, you're either going to fall forwards and it's going to kick out behind you, or you're going to do what this guy does and it's going to shoot out in front of you and you're going to go down. So let's look at the landing that he does. He sticks his arm out, which is a classic version of a Fuchs injury right there. If he stuck that arm out and it got stuck and he kept on going, his arm could break. He could really injure his wrist. So in this type of fall, the best thing to do is, as you're going down, protect the head from all sides and just take the hit otherwise. Because when you do this, you have a lot of meat in your lat, you have a lot of meat on the side of your arm to take that brunt of the force, and then you protect the head from having a whiplash event, some sort of concussion. Now, when you're doing it the way he did it, which is how our instincts really teach us how to do it, you're going to be risking a break. You're going to be risking breaking your arm. If that does break, your head can actually whip down. And you can see he did pretty good keeping his head off the ground though. So the technique did work. It just isn't optimal if you're trying to avoid any injury at all. Let's look at Stephen Curry, my home state of California, even though I'm in Massachusetts right now. And he took a pretty gnarly fall here. Obviously, when you're playing sports, especially at a professional level, you're gonna be playing hard. You're expected to get your body out there and put yourself on the line. So when he did this, he was, trying to play defense and he got launched over him. He goes into what is kind of an uncontrolled fall. There's really no way to end up in a roll, to successfully bail out of this, unless he was used to doing flips and whatnot. And we're going to see something like that in a future video during gymnastics. Let's say he is used to flipping. He could have somehow tucked his body into a pseudo side flip and then landed on his feet or landed in a better position, but that's not his sport. It isn't parkour, it isn't gymnastics. Say he's a basketball player. And so what he did here is he stuck his arms out. Like we learned in the last video, that's really not the best thing to do. You can get a Fuchs injury, fall on an outstretched hand, leading to a break. If he broke his arm here, he's out of the season, right? And so the best thing to do, especially when you're a professional athlete, is to focus on mitigating injury as much as you can, even if it takes you out of the game, that play, or that entire game itself, but keeps you in for the season. So for something like this is a pseudo break fall. You're trying to break as much tension in the fall as you can. So usually in this type of situation, spreading your arms out is the best thing. Spread out the impact, get as much body surface area to hit as you possibly can. But you can see at the angle, he's landing on his neck, he's landing on his head. So when that's happening, when you're landing on this part of your body, not the side of you or anything, it's not so much about spreading out to absorb the force, it's about protecting the vital areas. Protect the neck, protect the head. So what he should have done, again, just like in the last video, is cover up and create a helmet with his arms. he might break his finger, he might do something to that regard, but if you have a head injury, his career is over. And so it would be best interest in the team and himself and his future life to protect the head and risk an arm injury. Because even when he did this, you can see that right arm gets tucked right underneath him. Right there. And it goes underneath him. So he could have easily torn a rotator cuff, done something, that would have took him out for a long time, took him out of the season because he was trying to stop the fall with his hands instead of just taking the hit and protecting himself. So here's that gymnastics fall I was talking about, the person who is trained to flip. Now this one's really subtle, but I want you to just watch how her legs are when she enters the very first flip. Kind of loads up and then she springs off. So she's intentionally trying to flip right there. She kind of loads up and springs off. Watch when she lands. Her knees straighten out, her hips push backwards. That is a hallmark of legs that are getting hyperextended under force. And so what happens is she doesn't intentionally do it, but she gets bounced up right there and she goes into a intentional flip to help mitigate any injury. If she tried to stick that landing, those knees would have kept on going backwards. Now you're talking about torn ligaments, again, out for a season, out for the entire sport, done. And so instead, this girl made a really quick decision that she's hyperextending, the hips push back. Let me just go with the bounce and do a half flip out of it, landing on her back and protecting her knees through using her flipping skills to get out of that situation. So super subtle. I have one video that I didn't put on this YouTube video, but that shows a extreme hyperextension in a situation just like this. It was just a little bit too gruesome and I didn't feel comfortable putting it on. So this is a nice version of hyperextension, using flipping skills to get out of a bad situation, and then using the surface, landing on her back, head is tucked to absorb some of that extra impact. All right, this is a really weird one. I've watched this one a bunch of times to really figure out what the heck was going on, because this guy clearly gets thrown off, right? Somehow. Initially, I thought he slipped on the plate because when you look at his feet, it looks like he almost trips himself or slips somehow, but I don't think that's what's actually happening. Watch his hip and his face in the slow-mo. His hip kind of kicks out to the side and you can see his face he is kind of shocked that something just happened like that. And so what I think happened is, as he's running, he plants that foot. I think he may have had a similar hyperextension event like that last gymnastics video. And there's so much tension in that leg that he almost popped off of it in a weird way, like it was like a spring that shot him up. He's a young dude, probably has really tight tendons, really strong tendons and muscles. A lot of load is going into that leg as he's sprinting to the end. So it's a pretty uncommon thing to happen, but he didn't trip himself. That leg is just flying through and he didn't slip. So the only thing I can think of is that he got almost launched off his own leg from all the tension in there because he landed wrong and that tension just took him out. It's super weird. If you guys have any ideas on what's actually happening in this video, let me know, but that's the best thing I can come up with, especially because you could almost say that he was doing it as like a prank video or something, but his hip and his face say otherwise. He was not expecting that to happen. Just got kind of shot out. I wanted to end on a pretty cool video. This one is Trey Turner, I believe, and showing what supreme good falling skills really can do for you. And as you know, in baseball, sliding is a big part of it. And a slide is really a very controlled fall. So he is showing an expert level of this skill. I mean, he slides in expertly, and then he just uses that momentum to twist his body up and stand, and super smooth. The fact that he did this in a real game, that's why this is such a famous clip. But this is the kind of elite level athleticism that somebody can have when they practice falling of any sort on top of their actual sport, because it allows you to use those skills in unique situations. There's another video I'll do in a future YouTube video of a baseball player actually diving and doing basically a front flip to get over the catcher to hit the plate and make a run or save the base. I can't remember, but He used the falling skill to make his athleticism that much better. I think it's kind of a slept on situation for falling. People like it for injury prevention, but when it comes to sports, it can make you a better and more versatile athlete for your sport. So that is episode number 6. Some interesting falls, some interesting controlled falls, all very unique. I think sports is an area, like I said previously, that we don't think about falling as much. Obviously, athletes fall a lot. They tend to be better at falling than the average person because they kind of have to make sure they don't get kicked out of their sport. So if you trip or slide or something, you have to make sure that you have very minimal injuries so that you can keep on playing in the next game. But at the same time, because you're expected to put your body on the line, sometimes you get yourself into bad situations like Steph Curry, and you almost are on a razor thin edge of being out of your sport forever because of a traumatic injury. So when learning how to fall and having maybe like some of those videos, like having some sort of flipping skill, even if it's very like basic, that can get you out of some sketchy situations, but it also can make you a phenomenal athlete because now you can do things that all your other competitors in the same sport as you cannot do. And the bar is very low because nobody else is training falling skills. So there it is, episode number 6 of the Fall Breakdown. Let me know what you think and see you in the next one.